Hello folks! Today we will compare Yelan and Xingqiu, the Hydro Queen versus the Water Boy. This time, I'll be focusing on them in Vaporize teams with a Pyro main DPS. I will show results of testing them with Diluc and Wu Tao, and see if Yelan can match or exceed the previous Hydro Aura champ. The reason Xingqiu is one of the strongest Hydro supports is because of his high Hydro application. No other units can dish out as many Hydro hits while not on the field. This makes him the best choice for a Pyro DPS like Diluc, Yoimiya, and of course, Wu Tao. I will be comparing them in 3 categories. First, and the most important, is their Hydro application. I will see if Diluc and Wu Tao can do their normal rotations and still vaporize every hit to get the most damage. If Yelan cannot do that, then she can't really compete with Xingqiu. Next is their damage. I will compare a C0 Yelan with a C6 Xingqiu, both with similar 4-piece emblem artifact sets. I'm not using the exact same artifacts since Yelan scales with HP, while Xingqiu scales with attack. And the third comparison will be how easy or hard it is to gear them. Each criteria will be given a score out of 5, and the higher the better. Okay, let's begin with Xingqiu. I took off their artifacts and weapons so the training dummy doesn't die too fast. But that's fine since we are only seeing if the Hydro Burst will steal away Vaporize procs. Their Hydro application will be the same regardless of what artifacts they wear. First off with Diluc. His normal rotation is to burst, then squeeze in 2 normal attacks between each elemental skill. So a normal hit from Xingqiu's sword does 255 damage. During this entire rotation, only the first hit after Diluc's burst had a wrong Vaporize. After that, all the big damage is coming from Diluc. And the same case will happen for a non-C6 Xingqiu with less swords. So a pass for Diluc. Now on to Wu Tao. For this rotation, I will use a C0 rotation with 1 normal attack into a charge attack, then jump cancel the charge attack and repeat. If you have a C1 Wu Tao, you can replace the jump with a dash. Again, Xingqiu does 255 on normal hits, while Wu Tao does 1131 on a Vaporize charge attack. During this 15-second rotation, Wu Tao's charge attack vaporized all but 1 hit, which is still pretty smooth. So overall, Xingqiu works well with both of these Pyro carries, which should be obvious since he is their best support. Now on to the real test. Will Yelan end up stealing any of the Vaporize reactions? Let's take a look. We start off with Diluc again. Since Yelan has natural crit, we will see 2 damage values. 723 for non-crits and 1085 for crit. Any other value would mean she stole a Vaporize reaction. After doing Diluc's 15-second rotation, we see that all the Vaporize reactions went to him, so a good start. Onward to Wu Tao. Same single normal attack into charge attack rotation. And we see that Yelan is not stealing any Vaporize reactions either. Wu Tao ended up doing more damage as time goes on thanks to Yelan's Ascension passive that increases the damage of your on-screen character. In this test, Yelan can provide a Hydro Aura just like Xingqiu. Both the bursts also last 15 seconds, so she definitely passes this round. On to the damage comparison. In this test, both will be using the same 4-piece emblem artifact set, and the teams will do the same rotation. Here are the stats for each one. Similar crit ratios, but I cannot get them to be the exact same stats since I gave Yelan the HP artifacts, while Xingqiu uses the attack artifacts. For weapons, Xingqiu uses his best 4-star weapon, a level 90 sacrificial sword. Yelan is using her Favonius bow, which is her best 4-star weapon if you are using 4-piece emblem. Giving her stringless will net more damage if you are using another artifact set, or if you have under 200% energy recharge. Her Favonius bow is only level 80 and not 90. The base attack on the weapon does not affect her damage, but missing the extra energy recharge does dampen her a little. And the last disadvantage is her talent level. Her elemental skill is 8 and the burst is 10. Compared to Xingqiu's level 10 and 10, or 13-13 thanks to his constellations. Both teams defeated the Primo Geofishop in roughly the same time. Xingqiu was a little faster, but he is also slightly better geared, which actually is a praise for Yelan. With a higher level weapon, or extra constellations and talent levels, Yelan will end up doing more damage than Xingqiu. Her damage ceiling can be higher than our Water Boy, and she enables you to run 2 Vaporize teams in the Spiral Abyss or special events. Since Yelan is C0 with a slightly weaker weapon and an elemental skill, and they both kill at pretty much the same time, I'm giving this a win to Yelan. On to round 3. Ease of gearing. Xingqiu wants a pretty normal setup. 4-piece emblem with crit, energy recharge, and attack. These are also the same stats most other units want, so there is competition. As for weapons, Xingqiu benefits a lot from 5-star weapons due to the higher attack power. The Mist Splitter and Jade Cutter will be better than any 4-star weapon for him. They give a lot of crit damage or crit rate, whichever he might be lacking, and you can fill in the energy recharge requirement with using a Sans artifact. For 4-star weapons, you have 4 choices. The best one is the Sacrificial Sword. At Refinement 3 or higher, he can proc a double elemental skill before a burst each rotation. Since his burst cooldown is 20 seconds, and at Refinement level 3, your refresh for the double elemental skill is around 22 seconds. Another good weapon is the Favonius Sword if your main DPS is heavily dependent on energy. The last 2 strong weapons are both free to play. The Festering Desire adds nice damage and energy recharge, but it is locked behind an expired event. The other free-to-play weapon is the Inazuma Craftable Sword, which gives nice energy for him and the team. Overall, fairly reasonable to gear, but you will compete with many other characters for the same artifact pieces that scales with attack. For Yelan, she does want 4-piece emblem as well, but focuses on crit, energy recharge, and HP instead of attack. She can have 1 attack power or 1,000 attack powers, and her elemental skill and burst will do the same damage. This means attack stat on artifacts and weapons won't matter for her. Continuing with weapons, the new Aqua Simulacra bow is the best one. But that bow is also good for everyone else. It is probably the best bow for all bow users except for those with unique weapon synergy like Ganyu and Amo's bow. The other 5-star bow that is great for her is Eulogy for the End. It will buff the entire team, even more if they benefit from Elemental Mastery, which all of Yelan's Elemental team comps will benefit from. For 4 stars, Favonius Bow is the way to go. We get a free copy during the recent events, and it does show up quite often from pulling. It is also not that much weaker than the 5-star weapon, since Yelan doesn't worry about the bow's attack power. Overall, she is a little easier to gear than Xingqiu, because she does not have that many other characters competing for the same HP artifacts. Let's review the scores. For application, they both do the same amount and are unmatched by any other Hydro character, so that's a tie. For damage, a C0 Yelan is just the tiniest bit under a C6 Xingqiu, but that means Yelan has a lot more growth potential, so she wins by a little. And finally, the gear. Her artifacts will be a little easier since she doesn't fight for the attack stat, and her strength with a 4-star weapon is as good as Xingqiu's choices. Both are extremely strong without relying on a 5-star weapon. I give her the slightest edge thanks to the artifact competition. In the end, Yelan is slightly better than Xingqiu and is a good substitute after leveling her up. This means you can put Xingqiu in another team that needs him, or run them both on the same team and wreck enemies when both their bursts are active. They have good synergy with each other too, since Xingqiu reduces Hydro resistance on enemies. Anyway, that's my summary and results from my own testing. She is an excellent addition to your roster if you already depend on Xingqiu. Thanks for watching, and as always, have fun out there, traveler.